Nice. Yeah.
What's your now? How far along are you in the?
I graduate
program?
in May, so
Okay.
I'm pretty much done at this point. That was like the big final project essentially was this class that I just took. So
What's your what? I mean, I hesitate to ask. I mean,
my plans.
university's a nice place
Right.
to occupy. You'd stay here
Definitely.
forever.
Yeah, I wish I
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
in some respects. It, it's going to be tough. Obviously, being an artist is not an easy gig in terms of money and being successful. But it's something that I'm going to have to do. I'm a creative person, and that's what I want to do with my life. So I'm going to see what I can do.
What's your thoughts on a plan? Or I mean, is it too soon to?
Yeah, well, I have a general idea. At some point, I'd like to go to grad school. I mean, I'd really like to get that type of knowledge at some point. But for now, I think it's like the next few years it's going to be kind of a personal journey of mine to see what I can do just on my own, and
Mm-hmm.
where I can get my artwork shown, like in some festivals or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just see what I can do, kind of feel it out a bit. I mean, I've been in school for the last 4.5 years, so it'll be good.
So do you have like a portfolio of films that you've made
I do.
that you would? Okay.
Yeah, so there's this film, Once in a Lullaby, and then I also have this other film, which is actually my final film I made, called Through the Woods. Are the two films I'm kind of plugging right now to try
Okay.
and get in festivals. So
Okay. What's that one about?
Through the Woods is it's kind of aside from this type of film, which is a found footage film, the other work I like to do is really like kind of really picturesque cinematography work, just focusing very much on the frame and the contents of the frame, and just kind of someone described my work sort of as the art version of Planet Earth, if you know that, the TV series.
No,
But
no.
it's very picturesque. I'm using an HD camera, so it's
Uh-huh.
I'm really focusing on composition.
Yeah.
And this piece goes through the redwood forest, and so it's kind of a
Oh.
zooming in, and it gets abstracted, and then out the other side through the
Okay.
woods. Yeah.
All right.
So
So to get your film shown at festivals, what you just package them up and
exactly.
send them and
Yep.
say, okay, here I
I
want to.
make a DVD and ship them off, and hope it works out.
Kind of harrowing, I suppose, but
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting too, and I'm hoping I can get into some good festivals and get that on my resume. We had that conversation in our class last semester. Phil asked us, so what are you guys going to do once you graduate? And there was a lot of common goals and plans. Most people are they're pretty much all in the same boat, and I think there's definitely kind of this problem. A lot of people will end up going into commercial businesses or whatever, and making commercials for people or doing commercial video work.
right.
And I think most people want to be artists, but it's just hard to make it like that. So Phil is telling us that I think only 2 of his students have actually gone on to become successful artists out of who knows how many of his students, like hundreds. So it's definitely tough, and I think everyone seems to be very aware of that. So there's a lot of people so they don't know exactly what they're gonna do, but they're gonna try and pursue
Yeah.
their goals. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a common thing.
Do they have? I mean, did they give you? I mean, how does somebody end up doing the commercial stuff? I wonder. I mean, do they have like classes in that as well? Or?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of emphasis here on digital work. A lot of it is done. I mean, up until like this year, most of my films were made on 16 millimeter film.
Interesting. Yeah.
And to edit that, I go and physically splice it, and so it's old
Yeah.
school here.
Yeah.
So there really isn't a lot of commercial type, education going on here.
Uh-huh.
A lot of what I, know for like Once in a Lullaby, for example, all that technical work was I self-taught myself how to do that. So,
Yeah.
I had a little bit of knowledge from the school, but not much. So,
Uh-huh.
so I think, the people that go on, what happens, I think, is a lot of people graduate with not a lot of knowledge in the commercial business, but they do have a basic video knowledge, and there's that, and like, having those concepts in your head of how to film something or how to frame or, that all that basic stuff that becomes intuitive
Right.
is very useful, especially, conceptually, or, there's a lot of different facets of like that market that people can go into. But yeah, I think probably it's just, if you say you have video experience on your resume, you have a decent chance at getting into something like that. The program's kind of in a little, it's kind of teetering between whether or not to go into the commercial kind of more video, modern realm, or to stay in this 16 millimeter Stan Brakhage inspired type of work.
Yeah.
I do have a great appreciation for Stan's work and everything that went on here, but I also think that they do need to at least offer classes so that if there are students who want to go more towards the commercial thing, that they can. And I think there's probably not enough at this point. There needs to be a little bit more focus there, and they're getting better at it. I mean, this building is kind of the first step in that direction.
That's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it's a great building, and there's a big Final Cut Pro studio upstairs.
Okay.
So I think things will start happening, but they're a little bit behind the times in that sense. But we'll see.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Other people that are going to finish university the same time you do that are going to go off, and I mean, do you have a sense that you have more of an idea what you want to do than most people? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have a clue when I got out of college.
Right. I mean,
seriously.
I feel like I've talked to a lot of different people, outside of the film program too, just friends of mine who are in the same boat, and I think there's a general, I mean, there is definitely a general feel that people don't know what they're going to do, and I think that's normal. I think most people don't. Although I do feel like, I have some friends who've worked their tails off doing business or engineering or something like this, and they're in the same boat as me, and I'd like to think that I've enjoyed myself a little bit more here, and I maybe I won't make the 70 grand or whatever right out of school, but I feel in some ways more confident, I feel like, than these people, because I'm not really, I haven't set myself up to fail, really. I mean, I can't, I'm going to try and be an artist, so that's, I'm setting the bar a little low in some respects, or high in others, I guess. But but yeah, I mean, it's something like, I'm not going to regret getting this degree, which I think some people do. I know a lot of kids graduate and they don't end up going into their field because they just decide they don't like it, or after 4 years of focusing so hard on it, it's just they're tired of it. So I feel pretty accomplished in the sense that, like, I know I want to do this, and I'm gonna do it somehow, something in this field. So so yeah, I mean,
it's not as clear of a path, I suppose. I mean, if you say, look, I want to go to law school, or I want to do this, then
it is kind of, it is a little daunting in that sense, that there's no easy step, I guess, into this world, into the art world. But we'll see if things don't work out. I'll just figure it out, and hopefully something will come out of it. Yeah. But I got to keep trying. So.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions. Do you have any further comments to the?
No,
you're going to be the first person on this blog. I think.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that.
On.